Do you still struggle with that inner critic within you and all its negative chatter, but you don't know how to stop it? Would you like to hear your true, positive, loving inner voice instead? Your inner best friend? Well, you can do both. And I'm going to share with you how you can through what helped me. I am Kaleo Wheeler, and I am the director of the Heart of Aloha. I have created a program to help women called Step into Your Greatness and be the master creator of your desired and best life. Now, this program has been created from my own experience of early trauma that followed me into my adulthood and what I found helped me in the last 30 plus years in my spiritual journey, in first finding healing for myself, and then in answers to what this human condition and life is about in being a woman. But before I get started, I would like to ask if you'd please hit the subscribe button below. That would be wonderful, and thank you. So now, the first step in stepping into your greatness begins with transforming your inner critic to your inner best friend, that true, positive, loving voice that's always also been there, just overshadowed by the negative. I began working with this inner critic within me over 30 years ago, trying all kinds of suggestions and ways that I would told would finally quiet it. This included a counselor I worked with telling me that if someone spoke to me like I spoke to myself, I would kick them out of my life so fast. But here I was instead, allowing it to continue to talk to me in such a negative way. For years, no matter what I tried, even from her suggestions, this negative voice continued to pop up and make me continue to question if I was unlovable and unable to succeed on my own at what I wanted for myself in my life, constantly making me doubt and second guess my decisions. Now, deep within me, I knew this wasn't true, but that voice was so strong and persistent. I found myself living in an ongoing struggle and battle with it as I continued to search for an answer on how to finally silence it. It was when I discovered the ancient Hawaiian spiritual teachings of what they call living aloha that I finally had my answer. I finally understood what and who this inner negative voice was with these untruths it had continued to speak to me about myself. Suddenly, the mystery was gone. And I also had doable and practical tools to put it where it belonged, in my past. And I began to listen instead to that other voice inside me that was loving and positive and also had always been there. It had just been more of a whisper in the background as it was overshadowed by the negative and waiting to finally be recognized and heard by me. Now, these Hawaiian teachings come from Mahialani Kuamo'o Henry. She is a Kanakamo'ole, a native Hawaiian, whose family lineage goes back to the original Hawaiian people and their system of living aloha. Now, it uses the ancient and original practice of ho'oponopono ke'ala to make more right the path that is about acceptance of who we are in our perfection. Simply put, we are spiritual beings who have chosen to come in and be involved in this human journey for the opportunity it gives us to grow and evolve even more into our spirit greatness. And this happens through our interactions and relationships with each other. So I have been blessed and honored to have studied with Kumu Mahialani to first help myself, and now with permission in sharing these teachings to help other women to finally step out of the world of negativity and fear that is still so prevalent around us and into the magical world of joy, positivity, and self-love. And it starts with first looking at the modern Western mindset most of us were born into and raised in. Now, this modern mindset has developed into being fault-finding and fear-based in a world of assumptions and negativity. And we still see so much of that in today's world, don't we? Most of us were introduced to this mindset as early as preschool, where you were made to feel the adult was always right and you, the child, were always assumed to be in the wrong. You were taught the word can't, don't, shouldn't. You can't do this, don't do that, without any explanation. Just that you would be told you were bad if you did it, you would need to apologize, and then be punished for it. And in most cases, it was without any explanation to you about or explaining to you the reason why you were being told this, and without you being given a voice to explain that perhaps there was a reason why you acted out in the way you did. In our modern culture, children often act out because without being given a voice, this is the only way they know how to be heard. The first memory I had of this was in first grade when I finished an assignment more quickly than the other students. And I chose to approach one student who I saw was struggling to see if I could be of help to them. Well, the teacher assumed, because I had finished my assignment quickly, that I was bored and I wanted to cause mischief. Instead of asking what my intent was, she reprimanded me by giving me more work to do to keep me busy. That was a strong message to me as a young child, that you are bad and will be punished if you try to help someone. You were just supposed to be quiet and do as you were told. This message is even more so for children who experience sexual and emotional abuse from an adult, as I also did with my third grade teacher. I was told, and as often is the case, that it was my fault, and that it's my fault that it happened, and not to tell anyone because I would be punished for being so bad. What could you as a child do? You had an inner knowing, a sense that you wouldn't be able to take care of yourself or survive without your caretakers. You had to do as you were told because of fear they would reject or abandon you. And over time, this also made you begin to question if what they were telling you was actually true, that there was something innately wrong with you. And then you started believing it yourself. This is where the seed is planted, and if left unchecked, grows and develops into your inner critic as an adult. It also continues to get louder and stronger if you were being told as you were growing into adulthood that you are never enough if you just try harder, if you just work a little harder. Do any of you relate to this? I also realized I had never been given the opportunity to learn another way to experience life as the Hawaiians did, with a positive mindset and thought patterns embodying self-love and an acceptance of my own uniqueness and perfection. It became clear that all I had been told as a child, that became my inner critic, were just these old limiting thought patterns and negative conditioning that my child had taken on as truth. I began to see these patterns just as old habits that no longer had any connection to who I am in my present adult life. I also saw how this had become an intergenerational pattern. What had been said to me from my caretakers, what had been said to them from their caretakers and from their caretakers before them. And so it became important for me to understand who exactly is the source of my inner critic and what was this intergenerational pattern within my family lineage that had been passed down to me. Questions I found helpful that you can ask yourself include, what was the family culture you grew up in? How were women treated in it? How were men treated in it? What words were said to your parents? What words did you hear as a child? Were they positive or negative? And were they the same words? Who said them to you? How did they make you feel? This all will help you understand when and from who your child originally heard the negative and limiting words, what these words actually were, and then seeing how you are still hearing them today from what is now your negative inner voice. You will begin to see patterns and how obsolete they are to the adult you are today. And with this awareness, you will find their influence over you becoming less and less. And then the next step is in freeing your true, positive, loving voice, your inner best friend. And it begins with having an awareness and knowledge of a different way of living your life through a positive mindset with loving and positive thought patterns that then will replace the old negative ones. For me, I found this new mindset in these ancient Hawaiian spiritual teachings of living Aloha that I am sharing with you briefly here in this today. The original Hawaiian people were not very different from us, with their focus on the importance of family and being there for each other. What was different was how they lived with the practice of Ho'oponopono Keala, starting with their children coming into this world, being told they were perfect always enough, a light from the universe, and they were brought up believing they could achieve anything they desired. And living aloha was what joined it all together in love and acceptance. And in that love, there is only perfection. Everything, even those challenging times we sometimes experience in our lives and in our relationships with each other, just gives us, our spirit, the lessons it came here to learn. And with everything always being in perfect order. It is what the Hawaiians say is ika pona mea, right time, right place, right being, to experience everything that we need. I would like to just share a little more here about the word aloha itself. Most people think it just means hello and goodbye, and the Hawaiians do use it for that. But the real meaning is simply love. When a Hawaiian greets or leaves you saying aloha in any situation, their intention in what they are really saying is, I greet you with love. I leave you with love. I share my heart and my spirit with you, and I wish you the very best in all you do in every moment of your life. Aloha is also a verb, reflected in the actions of how people treat you, in addition to having it said to you. And it starts with how you speak to and treat yourself as your best friend who wants the very best for you in your life. Living aloha embodies loving kindness, compassion, acceptance, cooperation, and gratitude with everyone and everything, and always starting with yourself. But here we are in our Western world. We are not Hawaiian and have not been brought up in their world of aloha. How do we shift this Western negative mindset most of us have been raised in to their more loving one? Well, knowledge is power, and it starts with how you now understand where your inner critic came from, and you have an awareness that there is another way you can live your life in a system of living grounded in love and acceptance. And you now can free your true, loving, and positive voice, your inner best friend, through taking what is the next step in your transformation. You can start this by looking at your list of negative words, phrases, and patterns, and see how you can transform them to saying something positive to yourself. Next, you can make a second list of everything that you feel is positive about you and your life. That can include, what have you been successful at? Even small things. How did that make you feel? What are your values? What do you like about yourself? What brings you joy and happiness? And what are you grateful for in your life? How does the answer to each of these questions, make you feel? What words do you hear to describe these feelings? Write down these words and phrases, looking for the positive patterns that are here now coming up from your true, positive, and loving voice, your inner best friend, and your true self. Keep a journal of when you hear them and continue to look for more positive patterns and the words that express how they make you feel. These are tools you now have if your old inner critic attempts to still want to be heard, and that you can draw from to transform and quiet it. You can also choose to focus on one thing that is positive in your life in that moment that you feel gratitude for. And there is always something if we're open to seeing it, even just a beautiful sunrise or a friend sharing a kind word. Now, with all of this, you have all you need to transform your inner critic to your inner best friend. You understand the source of your inner critic and how you can finally transform it by listening instead with this new positive mindset and awareness to your inner best friend. And you can choose in any moment, or sometimes even to second, to be grateful for what is positive in your world in that moment. And the more you focus on what brings you joy and positivity, the more you will experience joy and positivity coming into all areas of your life. Now, at the same time, as I said, you can do this on your own, but with the inner critic being what it is, it very possibly might be doing its thing right now in attempting to sabotage you with its usual chatter to make you doubt your ability to be able to do this on your own. The good news, you don't have to. If you need help, I've created an online course from what helped me, the 3 steps to transform your inner critic to your inner best friend. You do the course at your own pace and time. It includes all you need, including a workbook and video and PDF transcriptions to finally understand and transform that negative voice to your inner best friend. All you have to do is go to the link in the comments below, theheartofaloha.com/online-courses to get started today. And in wanting to make it affordable to as many people as possible, I am offering it right now at a very low price of $47. Normal value is $197. So take action and choose to step out of the world around you of negativity and fear and into the magical world of positivity and self-love. Create your world within the world around you, no matter how much chaos and confusion is going on out there. And please also click on the subscribe button below if you haven't already to know when there will be additional posts here on my channel that I will be sharing with more teachings and messages on how to step into your greatness, be the master creator of your desired and best life through living aloha and ho'oponopono. Till next time, many, many blessings to you.